Good day, folks. This is Chris Setteron, checking in for TradeTaxPlus Centre of Excellence. This is our first technical video for October 2018, and just a few pointers dealing with electronic services. We now know that the regulations become final and the interpretation, or not interpretation note, just the explanatory memorandum has also been converted into a final memorandum. So at this point in time, we know what it says. But how do we apply that in practice? Now, just a few pointers. The regulation itself is now very short. It's basically 2 short paragraphs. But the essence of that sits in the act that deals with the Electronic Transmission Act. Now, the regulation refers to that act in many instances. So this is the definition as defined in the Electronic Transfer Act. And if we look at that act, then we start seeing the technical guys or the IT technical people will have an absolute ball because it's all technical language. It tells you what is a website, it tells you what is data, it tells you what is an interface and all those sort of things. You also see that there's a single definition and then referred to in the regulation. But when you look at the act itself, then there's probably 4 or 5 other definitions that link back into the definition that we need to refer to. So now we need to understand essentially each and every one of those definitions. It's not an easy task. On the face of it, it seems simple. It's not that simple. It's actually quite complicated, and I think we all will need to upskill ourselves, especially my generation. We'll have to upskill ourselves to have a better understanding of what all not only the jargon means for now, but how it practically applied in practice. One thing that has been clarified though is that it is intended to tax electronic services where there's a minimum level of human intervention. So essentially somebody does something and the rest happens automatically. To give you an example, if you take the TradeTaxPlus platform which I operate, on the one side the platform gives you access to knowledge and data. And you can extract your own data, but you can also ask a question on that platform where somebody then answers the question. So if you look at that platform, the portion where you can automatically extract data, assuming this thing is conducted from offshore, the portion where you can extract data from for your own use, that would be an electronic service if there's a fee for that. The portion where somebody then sits and prepares an opinion for you because you request the opinion on the platform, that would be not electronic service. That would simply be delivery by electronic means. Now you can see how difficult this gets. As far as I've given the example in the explanatory memorandum that if you merely deliver something by electronic means, that's not an electronic service. Because there the electronic service is incidental to the human interaction. The human interaction is I prepare an opinion. The interaction electronically, simply I send that by email. That's not an electronic service. Now this is at a very simplistic level. If we start looking at how business is conducted, we're going to find many instances where it will be very unclear whether something is electronic service or not. Also, we have to welcome the exclusion of group transactions, intergroup, but it's so limited in the sense that there has to be a wholly owned subsidiary somewhere in that group for this to apply, the exclusions to apply at all. So you're going to find many companies which have, in non-resident companies having less than 50% shareholding in this, or less than 100% shareholding in these subsidiaries in South Africa. All of those services are likely to be caught by this the new dispensation. The other issue of course is that the exclusions of the group companies, while that's there, it doesn't exclude business to business, which we've asked for many times, and SARS have just stood their ground and said, or National Treasury has, I guess, stood their ground and said, we're not going to allow that for the time being. So there's no business to business exclusions. So what we are going to find is a lot of registrations in South Africa where the output is mirrored by input on the hands of the recipient. It doesn't add anything to the fiscus except adding a whole lot of additional administration. So maybe it hasn't been thought through as well as it could have been, but there's a lot of work that we as practitioners now need to do to get a good understanding of what is an electronic service, what is an automated service, and when is that service, when does it fall within the ambit of the new legislation. I also think SARS is going to be inundated with requests for rulings, but we'll see how that all pans out. So hopefully that gives you some kind of idea of what we're in for on the electronic services side. Implementation date is 1 April 2019, which means we're right there. There's no more time to really play around with what is getting us minds around what is what in terms of electronic services, but it needs to be in place by the 1st of April 2019. So there's some work to be done. So I hope this has been of value. Please share this with other people that might be interested. You're welcome also to use these videos if you want in your own internal training without any approval from anybody. Just use it. For now, it's me, Chris Vetteron, checking out for TradeTaxPlus, Center of Excellence. Until next time.